Arsenal are considering the purchase of Lucien Agoume, a 23-year-old player who plays for Sevilla in the La Liga. And when you talk about the La Liga, you know what it means for a man known as Andre Bartha, as he has really served most of his football sporting job or duty there. And I tell you what, he has scouted very many players down in there for you. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. We're also going to be talking about Eddie Howe and Newcastle, giving us a snippet onto the sporting director of Newcastle and the job he is really doing and the huge job ahead of him after losing out on Alexandra Isak in there for you. So continue to subscribe because we want to hit 28,000 subscribers. It's a good morning to everyone watching in through, and we've obviously gonna hit to attack you early morning because we really have a lot of stories to do, and you very much know that tomorrow Arsenal is going to be playing Atletico Madrid, and that means the match preview will have to come in early. I think around lunchtime I would have already gone ahead to record that video and present it to you onto this channel. That's why I always tell you, turn your notification bells on in there. So who is really giving us this particular story? It's Ficharges, Ficharges from Spain are telling us that Arsenal are considering a move for Sevilla midfielder Lucien Agoume in the January transfer window. The midfielder has a release clause of 40 million euros, although Sevilla might accept lower fee if the player wishes to make a move. That's what we've gone ahead to obviously get in there for you. Now, coming in through and really ask yourself, does Arsenal need a midfielder? That is the huge question we have to ask ourselves, that does Arsenal need a midfielder? Because when you look at their setup, they do have, I'm talking about a number 6 and a number 8, because those are the two positions that Lucien plays favorably in there. One, he really does a very good role in there, and it's really important to see to it that it really goes into that perspective of which position he plays into. He plays as a CDM and a box-to-box midfielder, but most preferably is a CDM. They do have Nogard and Zubimendi as a 6, and even Declan Rice can come in through and really feature as a 6. Then Arsenal in the number 8 position do have Declan Rice, they do have Zubimendi, they do have Mikel Merino. They do have even Ebelechi Eze. He can also play in there. So I think Arsenal is really so much covered into those positions. And this is where I really feel like maybe this story is really all about clicks, not having a very reliable source and being briefed by the club. But they always tell us that injuries to Nogard and Odegaard have accelerated this conversation. So that injuries of Nogard and Odegaard have accelerated this conversation. Now, for Odegaard, it's a cross out because there is no way Odegaard will play as a CDM or a number 8 in the club of Arsenal. That is it. For Nogard, I really understand because Nogard is the understudy of Martin Zubimendi. That is it. So, if Nogard continues known to be readily available, maybe the club might consider bringing in another player in January, because this time around, Arsenal won't risk. I tell you, Arsenal won't risk anything, to lose the trophy. They'll have to keep their squad fully fit to see to it that all really goes on well as planned, because very many games are really coming in through for the side of Arsenal. You understand? And if they are coming in through thick and hard, then you need to be having a fully fit squad. You saw to it that after the international break, Mikel Arteta reserved or really told Zubimendi to rest a little bit because of the minutes he played for the side of Spain in the international break. So that means he did that because he knew to it that Nogard couldn't obviously start into that game, yet they really bought him to obviously come in through and represent for the club of Arsenal. That is the most important bit of it all. That if the manager had trust in Norgard, then he would have gone ahead to say Zubimendi will obviously start off the bench and Norgard will obviously come in through to really start. And when you look at the bench, Norgard came off the bench, but if he really had a lot of minutes with Spain, then if I'm the manager, I would have gone ahead obviously say, let me drop in Norgard to start and let me do the needful to see to it that I really get on well with Zubimendi off the bench. And they are playing against Atletico Madrid. That is tomorrow. So it's really going to be a very huge game in there for you. And one of those games that this lad played that everyone went ahead to point at him was a game against the team known as Barcelona. Before we went into the international break, Sevilla beat Barcelona by 4-1, and Lucien controlled that midfield that had the likes of Pedri, that really had the likes of Pedri, you understand? The midfield that really had the likes of which other guy plays in that midfield, there was the other guy. He goes by the names of Frank de Jong, They went ahead to control that midfield, and that's why they went ahead to obviously collect those big points in there, and they went ahead to beat that side of Barcelona hands down in there for you. So that is it for Lucien, and we wait to see how things will obviously end in there. If Arsenal happen to go him in January, if he charges, will obviously have bailed themselves out. But it's one of those stories that I don't really give a very huge yes to, and I've given you my facts. Arsenal really has very many players that can play into that position of Lucien, because even Mikel Merino can play as a 6. By the way, most of the players that play as 8s can play as 6s into that system of Arsenal. Mikel Merino, Norgard, Rice, Zubimendi. They really have 4 players who can really play well into those positions. Unless otherwise, Andrew Batha tells us that he has gone ahead to see another Mosquera in there. If he has gone ahead to see another Mosquera in there, then there is no doubt about him, because all will be given a chance, as he scouted Mosquera, and we all believe that Mosquera is one of the best talents that Arsenal really got in the post-Arsene Wenger era as a bargain, and he's really performing to that level. Let's go to Newcastle. Eddie Howe, our new sporting director, Ross Wilson, he said, I think he will let him, I think I'll let him sit down and get used to his new surroundings first before I start bombarding him with the transfers, new contracts for Sandro Tonali, Livramento, Botman. That's one that's waiting for Ross. So, we all know to it that Paul Mitchell threw in the towel, and he left the club of Newcastle. He replaced Dan Ashworth in there for you. Now, the manager is like, I have to first let him settle in before I bombard him to really put in questions and really ask and really make some huge asks. And he's hinting onto contracts of Sandro Tonali, Livramento, and Botman. Sandro Tonali is on the list of every team in the world. Every top team in the world want to sign Sandro Tonali. Man City, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, name it. Every top team wants to get in a Sandro Tonali because he's a different breed of midfielder altogether. And he ticks all the boxes of really playing as a number 6 and a number 8 in any system that you want him to feature. So, the other one is Livramento. Man City wanted to sign Livramento, but Newcastle kept him there, meaning that they need to obviously increase his salary and also increase his longevity at the club. The same applies to Sandro Tonali. They need to obviously give him more and more and more money. The other one is Steve Botman, one of the defenders they brought him through from League One, and he has gone ahead to represent to the fullest. So those are the first tasks he has to fulfill. Those conversations will be led by him.